All right, let me tell you a story that's haunted people for decades. It's a mystery so chilling and heartbreaking that it's still talked about to this day. This is the story of the boy in the box. Imagine this. It's February 25th, 1957, in Philadelphia. It's cold, dreary, and the kind of day where the wind cuts through you like a knife. A young man is walking through the woods near Susquehanna Road, checking his muskrat traps. He's hoping to avoid getting into trouble because trapping was technically illegal in that area. But instead of muskrats, he finds something that will change his life forever, and not in a good way. He stumbles upon a large cardboard box. It's one of those old-fashioned ones that used to hold bassinets from J.C. Penney. At first, he probably thought it was trash someone dumped, a pretty common sight in those woods. But curiosity got the better of him, and he opened it up. Inside was the body of a little boy, naked and wrapped in a cheap flannel blanket. Can you imagine? One minute, you're just going about your day, and the next, you're staring at something straight out of a nightmare. This boy was maybe 4 or 5 years old. His hair had been crudely cut, and it looked like someone had tried to clean him up after he died. There were bruises all over his body, and the look on his face, it's something that would stay with you forever. The young man panicked, as anyone would. He didn't report it right away, probably out of fear he'd get in trouble for being in the woods in the first place. But a couple of days later, another man, out for a walk, also found the box and called the police. When the cops arrived, they were baffled. Who was this boy? How did he end up here? And most importantly, who could do something so horrific to a child? They started their investigation, but let me tell you, the 1950s weren't exactly the golden age of forensic science. Still, they tried. They took his fingerprints, hoping for a match, and they even made a death mask of his face, thinking maybe someone would recognize him. But nothing came up. Now, here's where the story gets even weirder. The box the boy was found in had a serial number. The police traced it back to a J.C. Penney store, and they found out it had been sold to someone in Philadelphia. But no one could figure out who had bought it. Dead end. The blanket he was wrapped in? It was made of cheap material, mass-produced, and sold all over the place. Another dead end. The boy's autopsy revealed even more disturbing details. He had suffered from malnutrition, meaning he hadn't been fed properly for a long time. His little body showed signs of physical abuse, and his cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. Can you imagine the kind of life this child must have had? It's heartbreaking. The police plastered the boy's face everywhere. Flyers were sent out, and his photo appeared in newspapers. They even put up posters in local stores and gas stations. The media dubbed him the boy in the box, and people were horrified. But despite all the attention, no one came forward to claim him. No one said, "Hey, I know who this is." It was like he had just appeared out of nowhere. Over the years, countless theories have popped up. Some people believe he was the child of an unwed mother who was trying to hide the pregnancy. Back then, the stigma around that was huge, and people would go to extreme lengths to keep it a secret. Others think he might have been a victim of human trafficking or abuse at an orphanage. There was even a theory about a foster home not far from where the body was found, but nothing ever stuck. One of the most famous theories came in 2002, when a woman named Martha came forward with a story. She claimed her mother had bought the boy from his biological parents, kept him as a kind of plaything, and then killed him in a fit of rage. She said her mother cut his hair and tried to clean him up before dumping him in the woods.
It sounds like something out of a horror movie, right? But the police couldn't verify her story. There was no evidence to back it up. Another lead came from a forensic artist who reconstructed what the boy might have looked like when he was alive. The sketch was haunting and eerily lifelike. It gave people hope that someone might finally recognize him. But again, nothing. And here's the kicker. In 2019, after decades of being buried in a pauper's grave marked a America's unknown child. The boy's remains were exhumed for DNA testing. This was a big deal. With today's technology, DNA can unlock secrets that seemed impossible to uncover back then. Finally, in December 2022, after 65 years of heartbreaking mystery, the boy was identified as Joseph Augustus Zarelli. Through advanced genetic genealogy, investigators traced his DNA to living relatives, piecing together his family tree. Joseph was born on January 13, 1953, making him just 4 years old when he was killed. Despite this monumental discovery, the circumstances of his death and who was responsible remain unknown. But at least now, Joseph has a name, and his story has a face, a small but significant step toward justice. The Boy in the Box case is one of those stories that sticks with you. It's not just about the mystery of who he was or who killed him. It's about the fact that a little boy lived such a short, tragic life and then was forgotten. Whoever he was, he deserved better. He deserved love, care, and a name. And maybe, just maybe, one day we'll finally learn the full truth. So, what do you think? Do you have a theory? Because honestly, this case keeps me up at night. It's the kind of story that makes you realize how many secrets the world still holds, just waiting to be uncovered.